Eddard Stark stands beneath the lone weirwood of Winterfell's Godswood at dawn. Red leaves whispering overhead. The air is cold enough to numb lips, though summer lingers on the calendar. Pale mist curls around stone roots, and every sound in the bailey carries as if the walls were hollow drums. At first light, the castle always feels older than the north itself, carved from the same granite bones. His breath feathers before him. Catelyn is still abed with the little ones, and Robb will soon take the practice yard, coaxing Theon and Jory into another round of blunted swords. Bran, sweet 7-year-old Brandon, should be sleeping as well, recovering from the nightmare fall 2 moons past. Yet here the boy comes, limping softly down the mossy path with a crutch in one hand and Maester Luwin's old cloak wrapped twice about his narrow shoulders. Eddard hears him before he sees him. The tap-drag of crutch and boots. He steels himself, schooling his face into gentle welcome. Bran should not be standing at all, the Maester said. Should not walk unaided for a year, if ever. But the child has refused the chair and the carry litters, inching through the castle inches at a time, until the impossible became daily truth. He is thin as the bough of an ash tree. He is stubborn as a Baratheon. He is his mother's son, and Ned's and Lyanna's all at once. Bran halts beneath the archway. Pale morning makes a silver halo of his hair. "Father," he says, voice so calm it chills. "I need to tell you something important." Ned turns fully. Dawn's first color touches the red leaves overhead, and for an instant everything glows crimson. "Of course, my boy. Come, sit with me." Ned eases onto a root knotted like an old man's fist, patting the place beside him. Bran manages the last few steps, settles awkwardly on the frozen bark, and folds both hands around the crutch like a septon clasping a strange wooden scepter. They sit together while ravens murmur in far towers. Bran's breaths rasp shallow, quick. The boy has grown wary since the fall, silent at meals, distant during the harvest song, as if half his thoughts linger elsewhere. Ned reaches to brush away a strand of hair stuck to Bran's brow, but the child leans back, eyes unfocused. "I saw him," Bran whispers. "Who, little one?" "Little Finger." The name echoes like a dropped coin. Peter Baelish remains in King's Landing. Ned has not yet ridden south. Baelish, quick-tongued, fox-smiling, small as a reed yet sharper than any spear. Under other suns Ned might have called him a friend, but time turned them into men of different cloth. "You know of him through Maester Luwin and old stories," Ned answers carefully. "I saw him," Bran insists, "last night, or maybe before. It's hazy, but I saw him standing behind you in a hall of red stone. He was smiling, but the smile was all wrong, like he'd stolen it." Ned feels the chill of Godswood shadows slip beneath his tunic. Bran has always had queer dreams, a child raised on Old Nan's tales and northern winter. But there is steel in the boy's tone this morning. Steel and something older than Winterfell. What hall of red stone? The throne room, I think. I heard swords clashing outside, banners burning. I smelled. Bran's small face pales. I smelled blood sizzling on iron. Ned grips the crutch, pressing it gently downward until Bran's fingers relax. Dreams can frighten. They can lie. Bran shakes his head once, a curt raven jerk. This one was true. I feel it. He touches his heart. Like the wolves feel storms before they come. Don't trust him, father. Promise me you won't. Ned hears his own oath to Benjen's shade. His father's dying breath at the Tower of Joy, promises upon promises. "I promise," he says anyway, "because those gray eyes demand it. I will be watchful." Bran exhales a gust of fog. "That's not enough. You have to tell Mother everything you plan. Tell Robb. Talk to the spider." Ned blinks. The spider. The one who whispers. Bran mutters, frustration flaring. "The eunuch. The master of secrets. He wants you alive more than the other one does. He'll help if you ask the right way. But you can't be too proud, father, not in that city. And you must write to the Blackfish and to Lord Royce and..." Slowly, Ned cups Bran's cheek, feeling the heat of fever or prophecy. One at a time. Tell me everything you remember. And Bran does. For a long while they speak beneath the weirwood canopy. Eddard listening, Bran reliving glimpses of a tapestry unfinished. He speaks of courtiers hissing like serpents, of a dagger with a rippled dragonbone hilt, of a red flower turning black beneath moonlight. He describes Peter Baelish leaning near Ned's ear in a candlelit brothel chamber, the taste of honey wine on his breath. He sees a parchment crisp with Lannister gold, a hidden ledger recording debts of the realm in blood. He sees his father kneeling in the dust of the throne room, sword point at his neck. No, at his own sword ice, offered to an unworthy king, and the spider's voice whispering, too low to change the end. Ned feels roots twist around his feet as if the old gods themselves grip him. He should rise, fetch Maester Luwin, speak of herbs and head wounds and healing. He should be rational, dismiss dreams, spare the boy further dread. But Bran's words carve deep. Every kernel of fear echoes Ned's private misgivings about the South, about Robert, about Lisa's frantic letter naming the Lannisters' assassin. And there is truth shining in Bran's eyes, a truth older than Maester's, as old as the giant faces carved into the heart trees. He embraces the child, pressing Bran's head to his chest. Bran stiffens, then allows it, small limbs trembling like a ground sparrow. "All right," Ned whispers. "All right, my brave little lord. I will remember. I will guard myself. And I will write. That is my vow to you." Bran pulls back, brushing away tears more of exhausted relief than sorrow. "Thank you," he murmurs, the words barely audible over the rustle of leaves. Ned stands and swings Bran into his arms. Lighter than Arya, gods help him. They walk the long path back toward the great keep. Sunlight catches on arrow slits, glitters on pike tips in the yard where Ser Roderick drills lads at spearwork. The castle begins another day, ignorant that a single conversation in its damp shadows has just rewoven the tapestry of kingdoms. By midday, Maester Luwin has taken Bran's temperature and found it steady, has pronounced the boy wholly rational though fatigued. Bran eats a bowl of barley stew in the solar and dozes after, guarded by old Nan's ageless stories. Ned meanwhile summons parchment, quill, and a pot of Maester's blue ink. His first letter is to Catelyn. No, not a letter, a confession plain and sobering. He writes slowly, choosing each sentence with the caution of a smith forging glass. He explains Bran's warning and his own gnawing unease and begs her counsel. When he finishes, he pens shorter notes to Brynden Tully, to Lord Rickard Karstark, to Jon Royce, names Bran had spoken with clear conviction. Each letter bears the direwolf seal and rides with a fresh horse before dusk. He leaves ice sheathed in the great hall, though the greatsword's presence looms behind every stride. He seeks out Robb in the yard, sets a hand on the lad's shoulder, and watches him parry Theon's exuberant assaults. "A good block," he nods, and Robb beams, but Ned's mind is miles away, in a city of spires where smiles hid daggers. Later, by torchlight, he packs fewer silks and more woolens than Catelyn recommended, and locks the gilded trinkets King Robert sent back in their chest. He takes the ledger of Winterfell's accounts and stows it among his saddlebags beside maps of the Riverlands. When Catelyn finds him, moonlight washing pale over the bedchamber, she studies his profile a long moment before speaking. "You believe the boy?" "I do. No hesitation. I feel I'd be a fool not to." She crosses to him, candle bobbing. "Then you must be twice as careful. Baelish is clever as a fox in a henhouse. Promise me you'll keep your own counsel." "I promise." He hesitates. Then, "If matters sour, you'll hold the North together." She raises a brow. "I have no intention of letting matters sour." But her fingers interlock with his, and he feels the tremor there. "When do you ride?" 2 weeks, perhaps 3. He answers, thinking of ravens that must return, of Bran's gradual strength. "Enough time to be certain Winterfell is braced." She nods. "And Arya's sword lesson?" "I'll keep my word." A weak smile. "Syrio Farrell or no, she'll have her needle." Catelyn sets the candle on a chest, draws him down to sit beside her on the furs. Then we shall weather it. She leans against him, gaze turned toward the diamond stars spilling beyond the arrow slit. The old gods and the new will guide us. Ned kisses her hair, but says nothing, listening instead to the ghosts of winter. In King's Landing, the sigil of the crowned stag flaps heavy over the red keep as the city swelters. Peter Baelish strolls along the balustrade of the Maidenvault garden, plucking a pale rose, twirling it between thumb and finger. Behind him the harbor shines like molten coin. He is humming, a lullaby from Riverrun long remembered, long weaponized. When Varys the eunuch emerges from a curtained arch, robes rustling like smooth seas. Lord Baelish. Varys simpers, bald head gleaming with sweat. You bloom today. Why thank you, my sweet spider. Littlefinger flicks the rose's petals, letting a few drift onto the tiles. We all do our best to perfume the air, and yet, Varys gestures at the gutter below where sewage steams. Some odors cannot be masked. Littlefinger smiles, showing neat teeth. We can only wave roses beneath our delicate noses and pretend. Tell me, what brings the Master of Whisperers to my humble terrace? Oh, nothing so grand as mastery. Varys fans himself. Merely curiosity. A raven arrived from the north. Rather a few, in fact. One flew to Lady Catelyn upon the road to the Vale. A match set for Brynden Tully and my stern friend Lord Royce. And a heavier packet addressed to myself. Varys touches his chest lightly. You'll forgive me for opening it. His Grace insists we monitor certain correspondences. Peter's eyes flare, then shudder. Did it amuse? It warned me. The spider tilts his head. In grave, honorable tones. Lord Stark begs I guard him against wolves in sheep's clothing. Does he? Littlefinger's voice turns silk thin. I suppose the northern climate breeds wariness. It does. But the interesting thing is the timing. The ravens took wing scarcely 3 days after the fall of young Bran. One wonders what visions swirl in a boy's convalescent dreams. Peter flicks the rose's stem into the harbor wind. Dreams, children, northerners. He chuckles. A stew of superstition. Still, Lord Stark now arrives forewarned, forearmed. Varys' smile never reaches his eyes. I cherish our dance, Peter, but I advise caution. His suspicions may prick you first. Oh, Varys. Littlefinger taps the spider's arm, feigning camaraderie. Eddard Stark is a man walking blindfold through a pit of snakes. The question is which serpent will strike before the rest devour the carcass. Varys breathes deeply of the pungent harbor air. Snakes bite anything that moves, my lord. Even one another. Littlefinger's laughter rings down the parapet, beneath which dockhands curse and gulls wheel. The rose petals drift away, lost in the golden haze. At Winterfell stables, Bran sits astride a shaggy Garen pony custom-made with a carved frame and harness to support his legs. Robb leads the animal slowly around the outer yard, while Rickon toddles behind shouting encouragement. Bran sits tall, wind whipping hair across his pale brow. He does not smile. His eyes are fixed on the southern gate, where his father's party will depart. Dreams coil behind those eyes still, but he holds them in check with stark resolve. From the battlements, Nan mutters that the boy has giants in his blood. Maester Luwin records the date, convinced posterity will study this feat of will. Hodder stands like a friendly mountain at Bran's stirrup, ready to lift or catch. Ned watches this little procession and feels pride mingled with dread. The north is changing. The realm is shifting. The old stories say the Weirwoods witness every truth spoken beneath their leaves. Bran's truth now rides with Ned's every pack saddlebag. When he finally mounts his warhorse and the gates groan open, Bran lifts one hand high. Remember, the boy calls, and the word knells off stone and heart alike. Ned Stark rides south beneath lowering skies, carrying warnings etched in his son's fevered dreams. Behind him, Winterfell's walls shrink, but promises loom larger than any tower. Promises to guard, to right, to trust sparingly and fear dearly. The road is long, and the future longer still. Somewhere, far away, a dire wolf howls. Ravens twist in restless eddies above the treeline, as if blown north by the echo of a child's single word, remember. 3 days beyond the neck, rain drowns the king's road, and the party makes camp amid sagging pines. Ser Roderick's whiskers drip like moss. Jory Castle grumbles about soaked tents. Yet Ned feels calmer than he has in moons. For each night he reviews Bran's visions like a battle map. He sketches names and arrows beside them, seeking patterns the boy could not articulate. By firelight he writes again to Varys, couching questions inside compliments. He writes to Lord Stannis to Ser Balon Swan, an array of unlikely allies. He wonders whether the seed of suspicion may bloom into a sword's edge of opportunity. On the fourth dawn, a rider approaches from the south. Dirty cloak, winded horse, bearing Catelyn Stark's seal. Ned cracks the tube, unfolds the parchment, and reads her neat, sure hand. She is in the Vale, safe with Lisa, yet uneasy. She writes that Peter Baelish met her at the Bloody Gate under guise of escort. He spoke kindly, offered aid, but Catelyn sensed in him a hunger sharp as needles. She urges Ned to watch him closely, to confide nothing that could turn to blade. Ned burns the letter after memorizing every line. Ash swirls into the rain. He glances eastward, toward the distant mountains of the moon, and wonders if Bran's dreams stitch two hearts across leagues. That night he dreams himself. The crypts of Winterfell, long shadows, Lyanna's stone face weeping dry tears. In his hand lies the dragonbone-hilted dagger. Its blade ripples like water. And from the dark steps Peter Baelish, smiling as sweetly as a groom at wedding, whispering, "This blade will cut away all your lies, Lord Stark, if only you dare hold it long enough." Ned wakes before dawn. His first act is to open the chest at his feet and count every letter once more. In the Red Keep, Queen Cersei studies her reflection while a handmaiden pins rubies at her throat. Jaime lounges beside the window sharpening a dagger. The Queen's eyes are green ice. "Our new hand approaches," she states, "and the eunuch tells me he writes letters faster than a Septon prays. Perhaps our northerner grows suspicious." Jaime shrugs, testing the knife's edge. Suspicion won't save him. When wolves stray far from home, they become prey. Cersei smirks, and yet some prey bite back. She turns, silk rustling like snakes. Littlefinger says he can guide Lord Stark, steer him away from hazardous truths. Littlefinger would sell his mother for a copper and pretend it a gift, Jaime replies. He'll steer whichever course fattens his purse. Then we must keep his purse full, for now. Jaime flicks the dagger so it spins once, twice, landing point down in his palm. And the wolf cub with broken legs? Still breathing, I hear. If he speaks, Cersei murmurs. He will be speaking north of the neck, far from this viper's nest. Let us keep our eyes on the father. That is the chess piece worth taking. Jaime rises, kisses her cheek, and departs whistling through corridors of marble and malice. Cersei watches his golden figure vanish, then turns back to the mirror. In its glass she considers her jewels, her secrets, and a looming storm conjured by a crippled boy's whispered warning. Back in Winterfell, Bran kneels before the heart tree at dusk. The weirwood's face seems to lean closer, its red mouth parted in sorrow or awe. Ravens clamor overhead, black silhouettes against violet sky. Bran breathes deep, feeling sap and frost swirl through his veins, and the world tilts. He is falling again, but this fall is inward, downward, into roots and earth and cold rivers of memory. He sees Ned at a crossroads. He sees Littlefinger counting coins that bleed. He sees the Iron Throne melting into a pool of wildfire while shadowed wings beat overhead. Bran opens his eyes. Hodder's big hand rests on his shoulder. "Hodder?" the gentle giant asks, brow furrowed. "I'm all right," Bran lies, but he isn't. Each vision carves deeper, and winter is coming faster than anyone hears. He wonders whether warnings can ever outrun fate. Yet he must try, because he has seen too many graves, and one of them bore his father's name. Miles south, Eddard Stark's party crosses the Trident under slanting rainbows. Ned looks upon the waters, remembering the last time he stood upon these banks. Robert's hammer raised, Rhaegar's rubies scattering like seeds of war. Now raindrops strike the river's skin like drumbeats, each ripple a reminder that history repeats if left unwarned. He touches Bran's final letter, folded in an inner pocket. No more than 7 words scrawled in a child's shaky hand. Trust the spider, father, or trust no one. He lifts his eyes toward King's Landing's distant walls, glimmering gold in sunset. Somewhere behind those ramparts Peter Baelish smiles, waiting. Ned spurs his horse into a trot, the direwolf banners snapping above him, and vows that this time, the North will not arrive blindfolded. And in the sky overhead, a raven wheels once, sharp-beaked and glitter-eyed, as if bearing witness for gods ancient and stern. Thus the game begins anew. Stark caution against Baelish guile, spider webs tangled with wolf tracks, queens and eunuchs and cell sails all dancing in circles of rumor. Bran's warning has tilted the board. Letters flutter like moths into lanterns. Alliances shift half an inch toward unexpected stars, and the next breath of wind may turn spark into wildfire. But for now, the world holds itself poised, balanced on a whisper spoken beneath a red-leaf tree, waiting to see which promise breaks first. The dawn that first shows King's Landing to Eddard Stark is veiled in a bruised violet haze. The walls of the red keep looming like jagged teeth above the misted harbor. Banners droop in the salt-slick air. Gulls will soundlessly, their cries lost against the thrum of a city waking hungry. Ned rides at the column's head beneath his direwolf banner, leather-sodden from another night of rain on the King's Road. Sweat and damp muffle the musk of horse and man, but he keeps the hood of his cloak back, wanting the scent of the sea to temper the copper tang of old memories. Grey water churns around the pilings where Robert's fleet once bobbed triumphant after the Trident. Now the decks rock under casks of summer wine and Tyroshi silk, oblivious to revolution and prophecy alike. Guards in gilded half-armor clang pikes together as the Hands party winds through Mudgate. Ned notes fresh dents in more than one helm. A brawl, not a battle, but still stout resistance to law. Behind battered shutters, small folk peer through slitted eyes at the northerners. Some cross themselves before the mother, others spit for luck. The road narrows into Fishmonger's Row, rank with guts and spilled brine. Jory Castle mutters that even White Harbor's reeking quays smell sweeter, and Ned cannot disagree. Yet under all the stench there is an undercurrent, pine resin, damp parchment, hot metal, that reminds him of Winterfell's forges at the height of a long winter. King's Landing is forging something, he thinks. Whether crown or chain he has yet to learn. Past the great Sepp's cracked marble steps they ride, hooves ringing off cobbles polished slick by 1,000 hungry pilgrims. As the column climbs the hill of Viserys, Ned looks back once to trace the ribbon of street that brought him here. A serpent, fanged and coiled, every scale a life in peril. Somewhere down that twisting back is Littlefinger, watching from a balcony perhaps, calculating the price of each northern stride. They dismount inside the outer yard of the Red Keep, where hot wind gusts off the narrow sea and sets torch banners snapping like dragon tongues. Ser Boros Blunt and Meryn Trant bow stiffly, eyes scanning for threats neither man truly understands. Ned's thoughts flicker to Bran's letter. Trust the spider or trust no one. And he almost smiles, thinking how Robb would snort at the notion of trusting a man who powders his cheeks. But Robb is leagues away, shoulder-deep in snowmelt and harvest ledgers, and Ned stands alone. Grand Maester Pycelle waddles forward like a gout-puffed raven, beard stained by the orange of morning light. Lord Stark, most puissant and right hand of his grace, he intones, the realm rejoices at your arrival. A breathy wheeze follows, laced with camphor. His grace hunts boar beyond Rosby, but has commanded that you be shown every courtesy. Ned bows exactly as deep as courtesy demands. I am but a servant of the realm, he replies. Oh, you are more than that, comes a voice silken as dusk. Lord Peter Baelish steps from behind a pillar of redstone, plum doublet immaculate, dark beard clipped close. You are Robert's conscience, which is to say his better half. Baelish's smile sticks like honey on cold bread. Ned inclines his head without warmth. I hope his hunting is fruitful. Oh, pigs aplenty. Littlefinger spreads his hands as though offering invisible spoils. And speaking of game, the small council will convene within the hour to feast upon matters of coin and war. If it please your lordship, I would be honored to escort you. Pycelle's sigh is audible even over tramping sable boots. Ned notes it, pockets the knowledge. Pycelle's pride wounds easily. I shall come after seeing to my men, Ned answers, giving no ground to Baelish's presumption. A hot meal and dry cloaks will do them more good than feasting on courtly words. As you will. Littlefinger sketches a bow flourished just enough to convey amusement at Ned's rustic priorities. The treasury wing awaits whenever you have survived the stables. Baelish glides away through a colonnade spilling lemon-scented light, servants scattering before him like minnows. Pycelle totters after, muttering about protocol and damp horses inside royal walls. Ned breathes once, deep and slow. Already, he thinks the city tries to swallow me. But Bran's warning tangles around his heart like ghostly thorns, goading him to caution. He calls to Jory, orders billets for every man, sees the wagon's seals checked twice. When he finally turns toward the Tower of the Hand, dawn has risen to a pale blade in the east. Inside the tower, dust motes drift golden through stagnant corridors that smell of lavender and old ink. Stewards bow Ned to chambers too large by half. Hangings depict past hands, some wise, some wicked, all dead. Ice is borne off to be oiled, his saddlebags unpacked, while a bath steams like a captured cloud in the solar. Ned dismisses the servants and unrolls parchment across the heavy oak table. He pens 3 lines, arrived. Safe. Boy's visions hold weight, then burns the page. It is enough that he wrote it. The ash carried the rest northward on a whisper. A rap on the door. Varys, in lavender silk, face powdered barely lighter than his scalp. He glides in silent as a snowdrift. My lord hand, he purrs. The council awaits at your leisure, but first, a small gift. From his sleeve, he withdraws a folded slip sealed only with a blank wafer of wax. Ned breaks it. Inside, a line in pointed Braavosi script. Daggers are often lent to the hand holding them. No signature. Ned closes the note between iron fingers. Is this a riddle or a warning? Merely a courtesy. Varys smiles, lashes fluttering. King's Landing thrives on courtesy. May I escort you? Ned studies the eunuch's eyes. Pale, watery, but keen beneath affectation. Bran's last words echo. Finally he nods. Lead on. They descend a spiral of stone-worn concave by centuries. At every landing a torch sputters, throwing shadows that twist like snakes over black iron sconces. I trust your ride south was not too arduous, Varys murmurs. Long, wet, and plagued by bandits run off the Kingswood, but otherwise unremarkable. Bandits can be instructive, showing a kingdom where it seems unravel. Varys folds plump hands. Some seems gape wider than others, such as the treasury, for one. The royal purse is emptier than a beggar's bowl. Lord Baelish will paint it rosier, but coins breed slower than courtiers spend them. The corridor opens into a pillared hall where small counselors lounge on carved seats. Renly Baratheon drapes one long leg over the arm of his chair. Green velvet doublet flourished with golden stags. Next to him, Lord Stannis's high-backed seat stands empty, a silent rebuke to fraternal patience. Pycelle rustles parchments. Baelish spins a quill between fingers. When Ned enters, Renly beams and strides to clasp him by the forearms. Lord Stark, at last. King's Landing needs a chill wind to scour the stink. Or a hard frost. Ned returns the grip. You look well, Renly. I feel well, which is more than I can say for Robert after 3 days of wine and swine. Renly's smile dims. You'll set him right. I can try. They take their places. Varys glides to his seat like mist seeking low ground. Pycelle clears his throat. Let us begin, he drones. First matter. A new loan proposal from the Iron Bank. Postpone. Ned's voice cracks like a twig in fire. Heads swivel. Until I may review accounts myself, I will not sanction further debt. Baelish steeples fingers. The crown owes thrice its weight in dragons already, he says lightly. One pebble more will not sink the ship. One pebble more could crack the keel, Ned counters. Show me the ledgers, Lord Baelish. Every coin in and out. Gladly, if my lord will accept a guided tour through 10 years of royal largesse. Littlefinger's eyes glitter. Bring a lantern. Some corners are dark indeed. I shall. Ned meets that glitter with granite calm. Tomorrow at first light. Renly laughs under his breath. Varys watches over folded hands. Pycelle harumphs, Quill scratching a note that will grow into rumor by supper. They move on to talk of tourneys, grain tithes, Dornish pirates. Ned listens more than he speaks, mapping each man's vanity. When the council adjourns, Baelish drifts to Ned's elbow. A word, if it please my lord. It may. Ned falls into step beside him. They pace a cloister lined with orange trees drooping under their own sweetness. Citron fragrance clings to every breath. I have long held the north in esteem. Littlefinger begins, tone smooth as aged port. Starks are known for honor. Yet honor alone is not a wall. It is a sword without a shield.
Ned Weitz.
Baelish plucks a leaf, twirls it. I would be your shield, should you require one. Court can be thorny. And what coin buys such a shield?
No coin. Baelish purs.
Merely friendship and a small courtesy in return. I should much like the tale of Lisa Arryn's letter. You must have heard rumor. A wild accusation of Lannister treachery. His eyes flicker coyly. Was it truly a letter at all? Ned's reply is soft. What concern is that of yours? If the Queen's family plotted murder, the realm deserves the truth. And the realm might repay the messenger handsomely, with, say, a more generous appointment for a loyal master of coin. Ned stops beneath an arch where sun lances through rose-tinted glass. If there was murder, it will be proved, not whispered, and I will not trade proof for favor. Littlefinger smiles thinly. So stern. Robert chose well. He flicks the leaf away and bows. Until dawn, then, my lord hand. We'll tally the realm together. He turns, cape brushing marble, and is gone before Ned exhales. Trust the spider or trust no one. Yes, Baelish must never hold more than Ned's measured courtesy. That night Ned dreams of wolves howling outside palace walls. He wakes before the moon sets and summons parchment. In candlelight he drafts a letter to Lord Stannis, careful yet blunt. Your brother's children bear no likeness to him. He almost seals it, then pauses, remembering Bran's plea. Instead he rewrites, cloaking accusation in questions about lineage and succession, inviting Stannis to hunt the truth with him. He signs, folds, melts wax, presses his ring. The raven that bears it aloft departs before suncrest. Across the narrow sea of the city, Peter Baelish slips down a servant's stair to a vault where ledgers sleep in dust. Torch in hand, he thumbs pages, searching for a particular notation he wrote 2 years past. Transfer to Hand's household, reimbursement for stable expansion. It was a trivial lie then, but now he sees a trap. Ned will probe every line. He scratches figures, moves coin from one column to another, jots a fresh signature of a debt paid that was never owed. By dawn, he has woven a tapestry of numbers so intricate even he must squint to trace the thread. In the end, he sits back, sooty-fingered and smiling. Trap your foe in tangled truth. Let him strangle himself upon it. Catelyn Stark, meanwhile, leaves the Eyrie by secret mountain path. 5 men sworn to Tully Blue guiding her palanquin. Lisa clutched at her sleeve, begging her to stay, but Catelyn would not. Raven spoke of Ned's arrival. She must stand at his side if daggers fly. The Sky Road is danger on danger, narrow, icy, haunted by clansmen, but Cat rides with spine straight. At night she watches campfire sparks twist upward, remembering Bran's stubborn courage. Littlefinger greeted her in the Eyrie with smiles slick as lamp oil, yet Bran named him traitor. Kat recalls Baelish's boyhood boasting, his sly glances at her sister, and wonders why she ever trusted those limpid eyes. On the third day, lightning stalks the high peaks. A rider in Arryn livery bursts from the gloom bearing news from King's Landing. Lord John Arryn's former squire, Ser Hugh of the Vale, dead in the tourney lists, throat pierced by his own lance's splinters. Kat feels cold creep through her bones. Hugh was a pawn, too naive to be bold, yet he is dead before Ned could question him. She smells Littlefinger's rose-perfumed hand hidden beneath armored gauntlets. Bran's warning grows teeth. Back in the Red Keep, Ned walks stone-flagged corridors at dawn. Baelish 2 steps ahead with keys jangling like wind chimes. They enter vault after vault. Scroll rooms thick with dust, copperpenny bins, files of tax decrees bound by mildew leather. Baelish recites sums in a sing-song that makes ruin sound like revel. Ned records each figure silently, but inside he calculates interest the realm owes to Bravos and Tyrosh and Myr. The numbers bloom like bruises. By the 6th vault, Ned's temper is an iron kept too long at white heat. "You call this governance?" he asks, voice low. "I call it ingenuity," Littlefinger replies. "We borrow today to feast tonight, then borrow tomorrow to cover the plate. And the day after? Someone else dines," Baelish says lightly, "and someone else borrows." His eyes glitter. "A merry wheel, a wheel forged of bones. Perhaps, but look around, you will not find a single starving page. The realm eats." Ned turns, surveying shelves sagging under account books bound in cracked calfskin. How many lives reduced to ink? He thinks of Benjen lost in the haunted forest, of silent white walkers stirring in legend, northern winters when men burn furniture for warmth. The realm eats now, but winter is a wolf. Debt is oil poured upon snow. It makes a fire that feeds furiously then dies, leaving ash and hunger. He sets down the torch. "I will purge this. Cut unnecessary pensions. Halt tourney purses." Baelish's mouth squares. "Robert loves his tourneys. Cut his pleasure and you cut your tenure. Robert is my friend. He will listen. Will he, or will the queen whisper sweeter?" Ned feels ice's phantom weight across his back and grips resolve. "Let her whisper. I will speak plainly." Baelish inclines his head. "Then may your plain words sprout wings." He claps torch dust from his gloves, steps past. "Next vault? Or have we seen enough folly for one morning? Lead on." Ned's voice is flint. They walk. Baelish's steps echo, rhythmic as a heart. Ned counts them, embedding the sound so he will know it creeping behind him in darker halls. That evening Robert returns bronzed, reeking of wine and pig fat, cloak spattered with boar's blood. He laughs when Ned scolds him for leaving the city. "I'd rather hunt than rule," he bellows. "If I could trade crowns for tusks, I'd do it." They dine privately, fat crackles on silver platters. Robert gulps robust red so swiftly drool beads in his beard. Ned waits until 3rd cup, then speaks. The treasury's ruin, the cost of next tourney. Robert waves a hand. "Let Baelish fret. Let the Lannisters pay. They owe me." "They'll own you," Ned warns. "No, Ned. They think they already do, that's the joke. But I'll always be Robert Baratheon." Yet even as he says it, his gaze slips to the wine, not his oldest friend. Ned sees fear flicker behind those blue eyes. Fear of accounting, fear of tomorrow. Bran's vision of swords clashing outside red stone halls feels closer. Robert presses a boar-grease finger to Ned's chest. "You keep my house upright," he says thickly. "Just don't lecture me during supper. I'll do as honor requires." "Blast honor." Robert appends the cup. Later, in the gallery above, Queen Cersei watches shadows of the 2 men flicker against tapestry lions. She stands like a statue carved of spite, green eyes fixed on Ned through a veil of candle smoke. Below, Baelish sidles to her elbow. "So our wolf thinks to muzzle the crown's purse," he whispers. Cersei's lips curl. "He muzzles nothing until Robert dies of drink. Then his precious honor will choke on politics. The politics you and I weave. Our tapestries grow grander each day. Cersei's gaze never leaves Ned's silhouette, but a pious wolf still bites. Not if the trap springs first. She finally glances at him. See that it does. Baelish bows away, but behind his closed lids he sees Bran's resolute eyes accusing him from a northern dreamscape. For a heartbeat his breath catches, sharp as a blade under ribs. In Winterfell, the first frost dusts the godswood. Bran sits wrapped in wolfskin beside the heart tree, eyes glazed white as new snow. He rides stormcrows through blank sky, soars over the wall bathed in corpse-blue moonlight, dives into crypts where pale kings in iron crowns stir upon slabs of ice. He hears a sword strike stone, a single clang that reverberates through root and bone until it hammers behind his teeth. Then he sees Peter Baelish again, smiling, always smiling, standing before a throne of swords shattered into twisted stumps, gold melting round his boots. A wolf's head burns atop a pike. Bran cries out and the vision shatters like spun glass. He wakes in Hodder's arms, shaking. "Father," he whispers. "Hurry." Ned does hurry, though he cannot name the goad. He discards half the court niceties Baelish presses upon him, declines hunting invitations, refuses a place at the Queen's midday meal, restricts his guard to men he trusts absolutely. He walks the castle's sewer-stenched underways at night, charting every sally port. Twice he meets Varys in shadowed stairwells. The eunuch speaks riddles, but each riddle ends in a shape. A dagger, curved and rippled like dragon bone. Varys says it passed through 6 hands before nestling in the Queen's jewelry coffer. It was meant for Bran, or perhaps the truth Bran carried. Ned handles the dagger by firelight. He sees reflections warp across the steel. His children, Robert, Benjen's empty saddle. The blade weighs less than fear yet drives deeper. He knows he must confront Cersei, but Bran's warning echoes. Not yet, not until proof stands taller than plots. On the tourney's first day, Ned stays in the stands only long enough to see Baelish whisper in the ear of Sandor Clegane. The hound barks a laugh that bears half-melted lips. Ned reads intent there and orders Jory to shadow Clegane. By dusk, Ser Hugh lies dead, spear still through his throat. Ned kneels by the young knight's side, feeling for a pulse long vanished. Studying the angle of entry, he sees the wounds are wrong for accident. Too clean, too centered. He rises to find Baelish watching from the shadows beneath the tiered bleachers, his face already arranging itself into helpful concern. Later that night, by hook and bluff, Jory tracks Clegane to a disreputable wine sink where the hound gulps sour arbor red. Jory listens behind a half-shutter as Clegane mutters to a hedge knight about orders from a little lord with a fat purse. Jory brings word to Ned before dawn. Ned thanks him and sends him with 2 trusted spears to follow the hound's every movement. Across the city in the lion-crested manse of Lord Tywin's envoys, Ser Jaime polishes 2 identical daggers, curved, rippled, dragonbone grips. He smiles at his reflection, though his eyes betray boredom. The Queen asked him for one favor: ensure a wolf never bears teeth inside the Red Keep. Jaime has yet to decide if Bran's fall was enough. Starks breed plenty of wolves. In the Tower of the Hand, Ned drafts new letters. One to Stannis, pressing harder, citing city gossip of bastards with hair as black as Robert's. Another to Catelyn, urging haste and secrecy. A third to Brynden the Blackfish, asking riders along every road to King's Landing to keep watch for Lannister coin passing hand to hand. He is sealing wax when Arya bursts in, cheeks flushed. "I saw a man with your face in the courtyard," she blurts. "Only not you. He wore rough leather and had icy eyes. When I blinked, he was gone. A reflection, Poppet." "No," she clenches fists. "He looked at me like he knew my name and counted it." Ned rises, rests hands on her shoulders, feeling how thin she's grown. "Where was this?" "By the Dragon Skull's passage. I had needle." She lifts her chin. "I wasn't scared." Ned hides a shiver. He has never shown her that passage. Someone did. He thanks her and sends her to Sirio's practice. Alone again, he heats the dagger's blade in the hearth until steel blushes sunset red. then plunges it into a cistern. Steam hisses like ghosts. When the metal cools, he scratches its edge across parchment. It slices clean as silence. He wraps it in cloth and tucks it beneath his pillow. Outside, bells peal the second day of jousting. Flowers scatter, wagers fly. In the lists Ser Gregor Clegane tilts against Ser Loras Tyrell. When the mountain falls, chaos erupts. Amid roaring crowds, Ned watches Littlefinger's gaze flick from Gregor's sputtering rage to the Queen's calm smile to Ser Loras's triumphant bow. Baelish notes who quails, who risks a grin, who whispers to a cupbearer. He is cataloging souls. The third morning dawns hot. Ned walks the God's Wood of the Red Keep, seeking stillness. Red leaves droop in southern humidity, nothing like Winterfell's crisp, blood-red canopy. Yet when wind stirs a branch, Ned imagines Bran's voice swirling down. Daggers are often lent to the hand holding them. He kneels, palms the damp grass, and vows before nameless gods that he will not let Baelish's dagger pierce his son's heart a second time. In Flea Bottom, a baker's boy carrying honey loaf spills into an alley to avoid a knights-errant entourage. The entourage belongs to Ser Gregor. Drunk and furious after Gregor's fine was doubled by the hand's command. The mountain's squire curses stark nobility. A word whispered rides faster than hoofbeats. By dusk, half the taverns south of Street of Silk murmur that the hand plots against the Queen's champion. Ned hears it in the council chamber, where Renly grins. "You've roused a dragon, my lord." "A dragon can be slain," Ned returns. Renly's grin falters. Pycelle fingers his chain. Varys watches them both, eyes glinting like wet gemstones. That night Ned finds Varys waiting in the solar, candle lit, smelling faintly of powdered lilies. "News," the spider says softly. "Your lady wife was spied on the high road beyond the Vale with an escort of Tully men. Lord Baelish has wagered 50 dragons she seeks you." Ned steadies his voice. "And you risk 10 he's wrong?" "Perhaps." Varys inclines his bald head. "I risk more than coin." He produces another blank-sealed note. Inside, a list. Names of grooms, smiths, washerwomen, each marked with a sigil. A lion, a mockingbird, a spider. Beside some a dire wolf is scrawled. Ned's pulse kicks. "Spies," Varys explains. "Every castle has fleas, but know which belong to whom." Ned tucks the list away. "Why help me? The realm bleeds. I bandage where I can. And if Baelish offers richer bandages?" Varys's smile barely moves. "Gold stops bleeding until it is spent, but corpses cannot spend coin." When he leaves, Ned sits long in the candle glow, studying the list. 3 of his own household guard bear the mockingbird mark. He closes his eyes. Bran was right. Every whisper might be a blade. He summons Lord Commander Barristan Selmy, asking quiet help rooting spies. Selmy bows with the dignity of a dying star and swears. While Selmy works, Jory follows the hound to a tanner's yard beyond Cobbler's Square, where Sandor meets a hooded page and exchanges a purse heavy with silver lions. Jory tails the page to Baelish's modest city house. He returns to Ned past midnight, face pinched. "Littlefinger bought Clegane's silence," he says. "But on what?" "On murder," Ned replies, "and on lies." He clutches the dagger. "Tomorrow I confront him." The morrow breaks with air thick as boiled milk. Ned strides into Baelish's office above the counting house. Ledgers sprawl, but Littlefinger sits poised, sipping Arbor White. Jory and 2 guards block the door. "I know about the bribe," Ned begins. Baelish blinks lazily. "Bribe is such a coarse word. Compensation. For Ser Hugh's death? For nothing at all," Baelish answers silk smooth. "Clegane lost coin in the lists. I provided relief. Hugh died for asking questions Jon Arryn once asked. Questions of bastards. Or perhaps Gregor Clegane's lance failed." Littlefinger shrugs. "Wood splits. And the dagger?" Ned lifts the cloth, reveals the dragonbone hilt. Baelish's eyes narrow. "Where did you? Tell me whose purse hired the assassin that night in Winterfell." A pause taut as bowstring. Baelish sets his cup down slow. Why ask what you already know? Say it. Very well. Littlefinger spreads his hands. I acquired that dagger in a wager. Won it from your friend the king. I lost it to Tyrion Lannister. Ned watches every twitch of mouth, eyelid, knuckle. You lie. Tyrion was seen leaving Winterfell before Bran fell, miles away by then. I never said the dwarf wielded it. Baelish's smile is soft and cruel. Perhaps he loaned it as gamblers do, and perhaps the queen's brother owes favors to their father's gold. He leans forward. Take your dagger to one Lannister brother and see how quickly the other roars. Ned feels the conversation collapsing into quicksand. Baelish is steering, always steering, away from his own guilt. Enough riddles, Ned growls. Were you in league with the assassin? Would I explain my own crime so freely? Baelish lifts the cup again. I'm flattered you think me foolish. Jory's hand moves to hilt, but Ned stays him. This is not finished. Oh, it never is, Baelish whispers. We dance circles until one of us tires. He sips. Pray it's not the one holding the blade. Ned turns, cloak whipping, and stalks out. In the corridor, he tells Jory, double the guard around Bran's list of names. Send riders north with fresh copies. Jory nods. Each action feels like hammering one more nail in a shield, but Ned suspects the arrows will pierce regardless. That evening, Sansa returns from the Sept in tears, claiming Joffrey was distant, dismissive. She fears he listens to his mother's whispers. Ned comforts her, yet notes the pattern. Cersei tightens reins on the crown prince. Another fissure forming. As full moon rises, Ned stands on a balcony over black water. Torches flicker like distant foxfire along the quay. He thinks of Bran, calibrating every new vision against this day's plotting. Across the yard, a lone direwolf banner droops from his quarters. The north is far, but honor need not be. He resolves to gather enough proof to carry Robert through truth's fire, to strip Baelish's webs, to shield his children. Inside, the dagger glints on the table, blade clean as first ice. Ned takes quill, writes one more note. I know your children's secret. Meet me beneath the godswood, or I will tell the king before nightfall. He addresses it to Cersei Lannister. He seals it with blank wax and embeds the dragonbone dagger through parchment to the oak. Let her know sharp steel shadows every lie. In the queen's solar an hour later, Cersei storms. How did the dagger reach her table? No guard saw its bearer. Jaime studies the weapon, frowning. Dragonbone, he murmurs. Rare. Cersei crushes the note. Stark plays at intimidation. Or at truth. Jaime's smile is thin. Then truth will break him, she hisses. Late that night, a page in Stark livery slips unseen into the godswood of the Red Keep. He waits beside the heart tree until moon glows white on sap-barked face. Footsteps approach, slow, deliberate. Ned emerges first, then Cersei, cloak dark as spilled ink. They stand beneath rustling leaves where no lion eyes or mockingbird tongues can pry.
Ned speaks.
Of Bran's fall, of the dagger, of Lannister gold. Cersei listens, arms wrapped round herself, eyes like polished emerald. At length she says, What do you want? Safety for my children. And in return, I give you this night to flee with yours. Her laughter, low and lovely, rings hollow. You would let me run? For Robert's sake, yes. He loved you once. Ned's jaw tightens. Take your children and sail. Cersei's lip curls. And if I refuse, then I tell him the truth at dawn. She steps closer, palm on the heart tree's bleeding gouge. You think me weak. I will not run. My children wear crowns of tomorrow. Yours will wear chains. She studies him. You are merciful, Stark. Mercy is a dove in a pit of snakes. It dies quickly. Ned bows once. Then may the gods save us all. He watches her go, moonlight feathering her hair silver. The leaves whisper overhead, red mouths drinking starlight. Ned presses a hand to the bowl, feeling sap beat like a heart. He wonders if mercy indeed died tonight, or if it will bloom in soil watered by blood. Across the city, Baelish leans upon a balcony, counting lanterns flickering out one by one as households sink into sleep. He speaks softly to the darkness. Soon, he promises nobody, the game turns. In his pocket lies a folded parchment stolen from Pycelle's chambers. Stannis' seal broken, the letter half-read. Baelish smiles. Stannis knows. But Stannis is far, and letters burn. In Winterfell, Bran gasps awake again, sweat freezing in his hair. Behind his eyes flicker flames consuming a weirwood in silent screams. He tries to rise but cannot. Hodder looms, worried. Bran grips his wrist. "Send a raven," he whispers. "Tell father. Tell him the knife is behind the smile." Hodder frowns. "Hodder. Knife behind smile," Bran repeats. "Father must know." Hodder nods slowly. Somewhere in the castle, a raven ruffles midnight wings. In the Red Keep, dawn pinks the sky. Ned Stark walks to Robert's chambers beneath banners breathless in still air. He carries truth like a wound. But outside the king's door, Lord Renly intercepts him, face pale. "Robert returned late," he says. "Too much wine. He sleeps yet." "Wake him," Ned replies. Renly hesitates, then nods and slips inside. Ned waits, hand resting on pommel. He hears nothing, then a muffled curse. Renly reemerges, eyes wild. He's not alone. He swallows. A boar's tusk ripped his side. Ned pushes past into the bedchamber. Robert lies pale, sweat shining on waxen brow. The wound seeps beneath linen. A boar's head hangs mounted on the opposite wall, tusks gleaming scarlet in sunrise. Ned feels the ground tilt. The game has raced ahead, and now blood sets the board. Robert's eyes flutter open. He grasps Ned's wrist. "Make Joffrey king," he rasps, breath bubbling. "Guide him." Ned's throat closes. He sees Cersei's triumph in every ruby droplet on the sheets. Bran's warning roars deafening. "Your Grace," Ned murmurs. "I will serve the realm." He thinks of Shireen's face, of Stannis' stern devotion to law. He thinks of Cersei's vow beneath the heart tree. He remembers Varys' whispered advice. Daggers lend themselves to the nearest hand. He dips quill, writes Robert's last will, but the name left blank until ink can settle. Robert's breath rattles. Outside, the city stirs, unaware that crowns shift like sand. When Ned steps into the corridor, Littlefinger waits, expression unreadable. "Is it done?" he asks softly. Ned meets his gaze. "Nothing is done yet." Baelish smiles faintly. "Then let us help each other. Trust me, Eddard. For once, trust me." Ned thinks of Bran, of daggers, of smiles masking blades. He shakes his head. "I trust the spider," he says, turning away. "Or I trust no one." Behind him, Littlefinger's smile melts into something colder than northern wind. A pearly dawn smeared itself over King's Landing as the maesters finished binding the shattered king to his dying bed. Robert's breathing stuttered in wet bursts, each one sounding like wine poured onto hot iron. The chamber felt too small for so much history. Stag-broidered curtains muffled the world to a hush, and incense pools thickened the air in hope of masking blood and bile stench. Outside, the White Sword Tower bells tolled once. A low note rolled through fog that clung to the hill. Eddard Stark stood beside the mattress, quill still darkening the last line of the king's will, heart thrumming with dread and resolve. Across the room, Lord Renly rubbed weary eyes, while Grand Maester Pycelle hovered with a vial ready, uncertain whether to soften pain or speed what must come. Robert's lids fluttered. He tried to lift a hand, but wrist cuffs rattled against linen. Strength had leaked from him with the hours. "Ned," he rasped, hardly more than a cracked whisper. Eddard leaned closer, catching sour breath redolent of strong wine and poppy. "Protect them. Keep the realm whole." "You have my word," Ned said, though every promise felt brittle against the looming chaos. Robert's gaze skated toward Renly as if to settle some unspoken farewell, then drifted unfocused to the vaulted rafters. A sigh, deep and final, slipped between slack lips. His chest fell and did not rise. Pycelle's pudgy fingers sought a pulse, found none. He closed the august lids and muttered rote prayers to the seven. Renly swallowed. "Seven, save us," he breathed. "It's happened." Ned straightened, spine ablade. He dipped the quill again, writing beneath Robert's wavering signature the witness marks that made the document legal. Space remained beside his name. He glanced to Renly, who read the unstated request and stepped forward. Ink scraped. When Pycelle's trembling scrawl followed, the will was sealed, but the name of heir still lay blank. In his inner pocket, Ned held the letter Bran's dream had nudged him to write. Stannis summoned to the capital, proofs hinted but not set to parchment. Without the elder Baratheon present, naming him now would spark war faster than it might prevent it. Yet to leave that line empty risked a different civil storm. The door eased open. Varys drifted into the candle-glow, powdery face grave. "My lords," he murmured. News travels swifter than ravens when perched upon grief. The queen is already on her way. Renly's jaw set. "Cersei has no right here, nor the wisdom to stay away," Ned answered. "Varys, keep this room secured. Only the Kingsguard. I have spoken with Ser Barristan." Varys bowed. "He stands ready." They had minutes. Ned rolled the parchment, pressed the direwolf seal into crimson wax. "Renly, fetch your brother's great seal, the one in the treasury vault. That sits beneath a Lannister-manned corridor." Ned's eyes narrowed. "Then take men you trust and take it anyway." Renly hesitated, then nodded once and strode out, green cloak snapping behind. Pycelle hovered. "Lord Stark, with respect, we must inform the council." "The council will meet at midday," Ned cut. "Until then, Robert's death is our secret." Pycelle's beard trembled. "The Queen, I have heard her title." Ned's voice rang iron. "I shall speak to her myself." The maester bowed, gathering courage from dust and ceremony, then scuttled out. Varys regarded Ned through half-lidded eyes. "You are alone against many daggers." "Not alone." Ned tucked Robert's will inside a leather tube, slipped it beneath his jerkin. "Bran's visions placed me on guard before the game began. Now we play it to the end." Varys inclined his head. "May the gods shepherd your moves." Footsteps clattered beyond the threshold. Ser Barristan entered with two white-cloaked knights, faces grim. They formed a silent guard around Robert's body. Ned knelt, offering a final prayer to the old gods who knew no September, then stood and exited into corridors whose tapestries fluttered like startled birds. He reached the Tower of the Hand moments before Cersei swept into view, surrounded by red and gold household guards. Her mourning gown, dove-gray silk, belied the fire in her emerald stare. "Lord Stark," she greeted, each syllable a knife caressing the ear. "I seek the king." "You will find him at peace," Ned answered. "We must speak." Her gaze flickered, fear, anger, calculation. "Later, a widow's right is to hold her husband's hand one last time. You will see him, but first the realm must be secured." He drew the tube from his jerkin. "King Robert left final wishes." Cersei's lashes lowered. "Wishes can be misheard. Not when writ and sealed. The small council will read them together. Until then, Ser Barristan defends the chamber." Her lip curled. "The honor of the Kingsguard bends to protect the king's wife." "To protect the realm," Barristan corrected, appearing behind Ned like a column of snow. "My vows are to the crown, not its ornaments." A ripple of menace passed through her guards. Ned raised one hand. "Enough. You will attend the council." Cersei tilted her head, hair shimmering in dawn's faint fire. "Very well, but haste." Venom spreads in silence. She turned, skirts swiping stone. Her entourage followed, leaving Ned exhaling the taste of storm-charged air. He walked to his solar, summoned two swift-footed grooms. Each carried ravens north and east, the first to Winterfell with news meant for Catelyn on the road, the second to Storm's End addressed to Stannis. "Robert dead. Council noon. Come with all speed." He sealed them and watched wings beat toward a sky bruised purple. Jory entered with a battered helm clutched underarm. Littlefinger's men stalk every stair. I've stationed our own at the Godswood Gate and the stables. Good.
Ned pressed shoulders.
If you spy the Mockingbird himself, I'll keep eyes on his shadow. Ned forced a grim smile. Trust few, Jory. Perhaps only the gods. As the hour approached, courtiers thronged the echoing halls. Rumor buzzes rising like flies feeding on grief not yet announced. Ned strode through them, direwolf cloak flaring. Outside the council chamber, Baelish leaned against a lintel, fingers dancing along a silver coin. Tragic morning, he sighed, slipping the coin away. We'll want steady hands to steer. Save syrup for fools. Ned brushed past. Inside, Renly waited, cheeks flushed from a brisk run. In his palm lay Robert's crown seal. Varys, already seated, smoothed violet silk over his lap. Pycelle dabbed sweat from forehead. The seat reserved for Stannis remained empty. Baelish drifted in and perched with a cat's grace. Cersei arrived last, armored in quiet poise, her sons Joffrey and Tommen trailing under shield of hound and hayline. No queen's regalia yet, but golden lions gleamed at her throat. "Let us begin," Ned said, voice steady though heart hammered. "The king is dead." Gasps flitted. Joffrey's eyes widened. Tommen whimpered. Cersei placed a hand on each boy's shoulder, gaze locked on Ned. He named a successor. Ned held aloft the scroll. Lord Renly, Lord Varys, and Grand Maester witnessed. The seal of the realm affixed. "It designates." Baelish coughed. "Polite. Might we read it first?" Ned set the parchment on the table. Wax cracked. Cersei's pupil slivers tracked every inch as Pycelle unrolled. The maester cleared his throat, read, "I, Robert of the House Baratheon, hereby command Eddard of House Stark to serve as regent and protector of the realm until my lawful heir comes of age." No name followed. Baelish's brow arched. Curious blank. Ned spoke before intrigues could sprout. Robert wished his eldest son to succeed, but grave doubt clouds the prince's parentage. Until certainty is proven, the throne must not pass. Cersei's voice shaved marble. "You dare." "I dare preserve the peace," Ned answered. "Lord Stannis is rightful king by law. I call upon the council to acknowledge him." Renly's chair scraped. "As Robert's brother, I support the claim." Pycelle sputtered something about rumors and mercy. Varys laced fingers, unreadable. Baelish rose, palms wide. "With respect, naming Stannis absent invites war this very hour. Better we maintain continuity." He flicked eyes to Joffrey. Cersei curled lips into victory's promise. "My son is king." Ned shook his head. "Your son is heir if born of Robert. I have proof he is not." "Oh," she leaned forward. "Do share." From his tunic Ned withdrew a ledger. The Book of Bastards he had copied from Jon Arryn's chambers. Names inked, each a mirror of black-haired lineage. He placed it on the table. Every bastard fathered by Robert bears dark hair and blue eyes. He looked to Joffrey. Golden curls, green gaze. Tommen and Myrcella the same. None matched their supposed sire. Silence swallowed the chamber. Then Baelish clucked tongue. "Hair color is a treacherous judge. Dominant traits skip generations. Not when hundreds show the same." Ned lifted the dagger next, dragonbone hilt glinting. "And this blade was paid for by a Lannister purse to see my son murdered, because he stumbled upon treason." Cersei's composure cracked, the faintest tremor along a cheek. "Words and weapons. Where are witnesses? In Winterfell recovering, and in this city buried with Ser Hugh." Ned's voice sharpened. "But Stannis rides with more, and with Robert's blood in his veins." Cersei straightened, expression smoothing to a mask carved of contempt. "The princess and princes will retire." She stood, ushering children out with a sweep. Hound's black helm followed. Baelish exhaled theatrically. "That could have been handled with fluffier gloves. The gloves come off when boys are used as shields."
Ned slamme ledger skjøtt.
"This council will draft proclamation for Stannis' coronation." Pycelle's quill rattled. A day to deliberate, perhaps.
No.
Now. Renly nodded. Varys inclined head faintly. Agreement or resignation Ned could not tell. Baelish sat, twirling a ring. They labored an hour, Renly forging language stout yet palatable, Varys smoothing fractions. Pycelle scribbled. At last a decree lay ready, signed by 5 of 7 counselors. Only Stannis's mark missing, and the Queen's opposition glaring. Seals dripped crimson wax. Ned turned to Baelish. Order the city watch to stand for the lawful heir. Littlefinger smiled rueful, as if pained by necessity. The gold cloaks respect coin more than parchments. Then they respect the man who pays them. Ned lifted his signet, chipped direwolf snarling. Stark silver will fill their purses. Will it? Baelish's eyes gleamed. The treasury's empty. I will pledge Winterfell's coffers. Baelish tapped table. That may not reach them before other purses. Ned saw then how far coins could race on swift feet. He leaned closer. If you betray this realm's peace, you'll answer on the block. Littlefinger's smile did not twitch. When I betray, my lord, you'll never see the block. You'll see a knife. They rose. Renly departed to marshal his own retainers. Varys melted away. Ned closed his fist round the ledger, feeling wood of cover's flex. In the corridor, Baelish walked beside him, voice low. You misjudge storms. Sailors strike sails, not masts. Honorable men reef nothing. Honorable men sink. Their boots echoed to the tower of the hand door. Baelish offered a parting bow, meek as a court fool, and vanished down steps. Inside, Ned found Jory with news. Stannis sails from Dragonstone. Lord Rowan's ravens confirm. For galleys under black stag banners in Blackwater Bay by sunrise. Ned's heart kicked. Good. We must survive until then. He ordered Jory to post archers atop Maegor's holdfast, watchers at each gate, sigil hidden. He sent a runner to Ser Barristan asking discreet loyalty. He penned Catelyn another raven. Robert dead. Stannis rightful. Prepare north. He wished Bran's dream had shown paths through this maze. Yet he felt branched roots twining underfoot, guiding steps unseen. Twilight lay purple over the city when Renly returned, face drawn. Men loyal to me number barely 50. The Tyrell escort remains neutral. That will change with proof. Ned tapped the ledger. Tyrells prefer roses trimmed of thorns. Renly sighed. I will leave tonight for Storm's End to rally banners. Gain Tarth, Penrose, Connington. Bring them back before Cersei mounts a challenge. Ned clasped his forearm. Ride swift. And you, brother-in-law, keep breathing. Renly flashed a quick grin, then slipped away wearing a hooded cloak too plain for a lord. Night thickened. Torches studded alleys. Ned walked ramparts, hearing far-off caw of ravens, the hush of water lapping the quay. The city watch patrols seemed normal, yet he noted gold cloaks bunched near Lion Gate. Whispers hushed when Stark boots neared. He prayed Broadbent, their commander, still honored oaths to the hand. Returning to his chambers, Ned found Arya perched on sill sharpening needle. Are we going home? She asked without looking back. Not yet. He ruffled her hair. She flinched but smiled. Keep training with Syrio. The Bravosi says water dancers stay in motion. Her eyes reflected lamplight. Don't let them stop you, father. He kissed her brow. I'll try. In the hallway shadows, a slender figure lingered Sansa, cheeks blotched from tears. Joffrey hasn't spoken to me, she whispered. He locks himself with his mother. He grieves his supposed father. Ned knelt, brushing hair behind her ear. Remember honor before love, little bird. Do you accuse the queen? Her voice trembled between loyalty and dread. I accuse trut. He hugged her. She clung a moment, then fled to her rooms, confusion swirling like snow devils. Midnight struck. Ned penned lists of provisions, routes north. Sleep eluded him. When at last he dozed in a chair, wolf-cloaked, he dreamt Bran standing upon a tower of ice, shouting wordless warnings swallowed by wind. Across a gulf, Littlefinger smiled and drew threads tighter until tower cracks spidered. At dawn, Ned jolted awake to steel on stone. Jory bursting in. Gold cloaks march. Ned thrust boots on, strapped sword. They hurried to the yard. Barristan met them, white cloak flowing. Commander Broadbent claims orders from the Queen to secure the Red Keep. Whose orders does he obey truly? Whose purse? Barristan countered grimly.
Ned cursed. Gater starkmen.
Hold the Tower of the Hand. Horns blew beyond. Down the southern courtyard gold cloaks filed, pikes glinting, numbers tenfold his garrison. At their head strode Janos Slint, mustache bristling. Littlefinger walked beside, gloved hands clasped demurely. Ned drew breath to command, but Slint shouted first. In name of King Joffrey, seize the traitor. Crossbow strings snapped. The first bolt thudded into Jory's mail, piercing flesh. He crumpled. Stark guards rushed, but gold cloaks closed like jaws. Barristan stepped between, white blade out, voice a thundercrack. Stand down! Yet the watch pressed. Ned raised open palms. Enough blood! He knelt, laying ice flat. I will go quietly. Starks do not break the peace they swore to keep. Littlefinger approached, sorrow painting features in delicate strokes. I warned you not to trust me, he murmured, sliding Ned's own dagger, dragonbone hilt, into view. Gold cloaks bound Ned's wrists. As they hauled him away, he met Slint's sneer, Baelish's mild smirk, but most of all the expressionless mask of Varys, who watched from an arch, silk sleeves folded. Did the spider weave second webs while first burned? Ned clung to faith that ravens reached Storm's End and Winterfell. In the throne room, Cersei sat upon the Iron Throne's lower step, crown upon her son's golden curls. Joffrey's lips curled when Ned was dragged before them. This man plotted against my mother, he announced, voice cracking yet loud. He shall confess and lose his head. Ned searched the gathered court. Arya nowhere. Sansa weeping near Queen. Pycelle puffed pride. Baelish leaned against a column, eyes bright. Varys met Ned's gaze for a heartbeat, then looked away. Perhaps the spider's thread slipped from his fingers, or perhaps it knotted deeper. Ned spoke, voice resonant. Your Grace, I served your father true. I urge you, seek proof of lineage, spare the realm war. Cersei's nails traced armrest steel. Confess treason and take the black. You may yet live. Ned saw fear ripple across Sansa's face. He remembered Bran's vision of a wolf head on a pike. He thought of Robb riding to war, of Catelyn crossing perilous valleys, of Rickon's innocent trust, of Arya's restless feet. He weighed truth against lives. I confess, he said, voice cracking like ice underfoot. Gasps rippled. I forged claims against Joffrey's birth. I betrayed the crown. Joffrey's face flushed triumph, but Cersei's eyes widened. She had expected him to bend, not break. Too late, Joffrey barked. Then traitor's mercy is death. Barristan stepped forward. Your Grace, the Queen proposed mercy. Silence, old man, Joffrey screeched. Bring me his head. Chaos erupted. Sansa shrieked. Pycelle fainted.
Gold cloaks seized Ned.
Varys surged, whispering urgent counsel, but Cersei's gloved hand shot out. Too many eyes to reverse. She watched as Janos Slint directed 2 men to drag Ned onto Baelor's steps. Outside the Great September, crowds pressed, news spread like wildfire. Ned was forced to kneel against stone still warm from morning sun. He caught sight of Arya darting through throng, Sirio's lessons guiding feet. He wished he could warn her. Ser Island Payne unsheathed the headsman's sword, Ned's own ice. Sunlight sliced along Valyrian steel. Ned's heart pounded but mind drifted to Godswood Russell, Bran's whisper. Trust the spider or trust no one. In the mass of faces he sought the eunuch, saw him near a carriage door, gesturing subtle. A carriage painted in Arryn blue. Inside, a pale face. Catelyn?
No, disguise spilled.
It was Lord Yon Royce, arrived with 50 men in stone-gray armor, bursting forth.
Schutzrang.
Royce's hammer swung, clearing gold cloaks like wheat. Stark men hidden in pilgrim garb joined, steel flashing. Crowds scattered. Janos slint bawled orders, but crossbowmen hesitated amongst throng. Ser Barristan, white cloak billowing, stepped to block Ser Island, parrying the first swing. Sparks flew. Ned rolled aside, wrists still manacled, crawling toward fallen guard. He seized a dagger, cut ties, rose in time to parry another blow from a gold cloak. Blood sang. Littlefinger watched from the steps, expression flickering between anger and admiration. He turned to flee, but a cloaked figure barred path. Brienne of Tarth, tall as oath itself, sworn recently to Renly's banner. Her blade leveled. The skirmish bled into streets. Small folk screamed. Ned found Varys suddenly at his side, key in palm. Under the sept, the eunuch hissed. Catacombs lead beyond walls. Why help me now? Ned shouted over clash of steel. For the realm. Varys's eyes glimmered. And for a promise owed to a dream-seeing boy. Ned plunged into mob, Arya appearing beside him like a wraith. She slashed a gold cloak's thigh, clearing path. Together with Royce's men they fought toward sept doors. Ice rang against helms.
Seilin faltarad banead barristans flui.
When at last Barristan disarmed him, Cersei shrieked orders for archers, but half her guard lay dead or fled. Through the sept's wide nave Ned led survivors, bursting into crypt beneath marble effigies. Dust moats whirled. Tunnels older than Aegon's landing stretched to riverbank. They ran, torches grabbed, Arya limping but fierce. Behind, bells tolled alarm across the city. But before gold cloaks could follow, heavy beams Barristan toppled sealed entrance in rubble. In Stygian dark, Varys guided them, voice steady. Hours later they emerged in a drainage culvert by the Blackwater, reeds murmuring in afternoon breeze. A small galley waited, black sails furled, crew silent. Storm's End men under Ser Davos Seaworth, onion sigil quick-stitched to sleeves. Lord Stannis thanks you for opening the gate, Davos said, helping Ned aboard. Royce's men followed, wounded borne. Barristan joined last, helm under arm. Varys stood on shore, bowing. I remain to dampen fires. Ned grasped his forearm. Tell Bran I listened. I shall. Wind filled sails. Galley glided past rotting hulks, slipping beyond chain boom before Lannister hawks spotted. On deck, Arya leaned against bulwark, breaths ragged. Ned wrapped cloak around her. We sail to Storm's End first, Davos said, then rally to Dragonstone. And from there, Ned murmured, we march with truth. Far upriver the red keep towers burned orange in sunset, banners torn by wind roaring like wolves. Within those walls Cersei's fury kindled. Joffrey's shrill commands echoed. Baelish vanished into labyrinths of coin and whispered knives. War unfurled talons across the realm. But Bran's warning had spared a wolf's head from the spike, and that small twist rewove fates. Night descended. Stars pricked the velvet sky. Ned watched their shimmer ripple on water, thinking of Winterfell's weirwood, of snow-red leaves. He felt exhaustion slam suddenly, knees weak, but inside hope sparked bright. A light nurtured in dream and blood. Beside him, Arya dozed, needle laid across lap. Barristan stood aft, white cloak billowing like a sail of honor. Royce knelt bandaging a soldier. Storm clouds brewed on horizons north and south. Tywin's legions, Renly's roses, Greyjoy ships sniffing chaos. Yet for this breath the river ran calm, ferrying the survivors of a broken morning toward a dawn still theirs to shape. Ned closed eyes, whispering thanks to old gods anew for the boy who glimpsed daggers behind smiles. Above, ravens traced silent arcs, carrying news and omens, feathers black as ink lines that had spared a realm from a darker doom. Eddard Stark opened his eyes again, jaw set. I live, he muttered, almost surprised. He looked across the deck at allies battered but unbroken. And while I live, honor yet has teeth. The galley's prow cleaved midnight waters, bearing wolves and knights and a fledgling rebellion into open sea where moonlit waves promised peril and possibility alike. Behind them, King's Landing faded to embers on the horizon. Ahead, war drums waited beyond the dark. Ned set one hand on the rail, felt would thrum with tide, and finally allowed himself a thin, fierce smile. The game was not over. The next move belonged to the north. The narrow galley ghost of Evenfall bore northeast at first, hugging the flat marshy coast to keep clear of Lannister patrol cogs that prowled the deep lanes between King's Landing and Crackclaw Point. Cold dawn rain lashed her black sail and stitched mist across the deck. Ned Stark stood aft beside Ser Barristan, cloak whipping about his legs while Davos guided the tiller, hand steady as prayer. Arya slept in the cuddy bundled in Royce's spare cloak. Jon himself sat cross-legged beside the mast sharpening his warhammer's spike to a cruel glint. 10 Northmen and 20 men of the Vale tended cuts and bruises, whispering of the miracle on Baelor's steps. An execution melted into skirmish, a white cloak turning on gold, a wolf stealing back its own head. Rain eased into drizzle as sunlight bruised clouds pink. Sea-birds cried overhead. Davos pointed beyond the horizon. Cape Wrath there, tides with us. By nightfall we'll show Storm's End's lanterns.
Ned nodded.
Our hope rides faster than pursuers, if the wind stays. Barristan turned from rail. Word of Robert's death will run ahead on King's messengers. We must assume the Red Keep sent ravens west to Casterly Rock ere the morning was out. Then Tywin marches, Ned said. And Robb. He imagined his eldest pacing Winterfell's hall, reading the raven he'd sent before dawn. Father alive, but war certain. Gather banners and hold the neck until my call. The lad would brace shoulders, hide terror, and do what wolves must. A deck hatch creaked. Arya emerged, hair tousled with salt, needle belted over Royce's draping cloak. We're not caught. Not yet, Ned said. She grinned, relieved, then crossed to watch the shore slide by. Gray dunes studded with reeds bent beneath wind. Catelyn Stark reined her mare atop a rise overlooking Storm's End's drum tower, banners snapping black and yellow beneath. The gatehouse shifted with activity. Men hauling casks, smiths at forges, horn calls sounding down the curtain wall. She had ridden 4 sleepless nights from the Vale Path, losing half her escort to mountain clans, then gaining twice their number when her Tully standard conjured loyalty among Reach Hedge Knights who remembered Hoster's River Mercy during drought years. The news had outrun her. King dead, Queen crowned her boy, Stark condemned then vanished in blood. To some she was a veiled conspirator, to others a messenger of the lawful King Stannis. She felt only bone-deep fatigue. At the drawbridge Ser Courtenay Penrose met her, face grave. Lady Stark, Lord Renly bids you welcome. We hold council in the round hall. He guided her through vaulted corridors echoing with hammer blows. In the hall she found Renly glossy-haired despite a night's ride. His green cloak spattered but eyes bright. Beside him stood Ser Loras Tyrell and Maester Pylus, and further on Ser Edric Storm, Robert's bard-voiced bastard, tall and wary. Scrolls littered a table shaped like a shield. Candles guttered. Renly embraced Cat swiftly. Your husband lives. He sails here. Thank the gods. Relief near shattered her knees. And Stannis. 3 galleys way anchor 2 leagues off, waiting for tide. My scouts glimpsed his banner. He'll make landfall by dusk. Renly's smile flickered. Brother or rival uncertain. Cat drew breath. We forge unity before the Queen's wrath arrives. If Stannis and Renly quarrel, Lannisters win. She reached for parchment. We must align behind Ned's proof. He carries Robert's bastard book, Renly said, but not the crown. Stannis wants more than parchment. He glanced to Loras, whose lips pressed thin. Cat rested both palms on the shield table. Then we remind Stannis that iron alone cannot hold the realm. Hearts must hold it too. The North and Riverlands stand with him if he honors Ned's regency until war's smoke clears. Failing that, he stands alone against lions, wolves, and roses alike. Maester Pylus murmured. Renly's brow furrowed. He may not yield a jot of pride, but we'll try. Sunset cast the sky blood orange when Ghost of Evenfall slipped beneath Storm's End's towering cliff. High atop the drum tower a beacon blazed. Trumpets wailed greeting. Davos guided her through churning surf into the small rock-cut cove where narrow steps wound upward. Men in green cloaks lowered ropes. Ned and companions disembarked into spray-slick gloom. Arya scrambled beside him like a mountain cat. Barristan helped wounded soldiers as Davos saluted Penrose's gate guard. Torches guided them to the round hall. There Renly stepped forward, smile-weary but genuine. "Brother Stark, the night grows stranger with each heartbeat. Welcome." He clasped Ned's arm. Cat hurried past to crush Ned in an embrace that squeezed pain from ribs still bruised by gold cloak grips. "I feared headsman's steel," she whispered. "I feared lion's fangs," he replied against her hair. When they parted, Ned greeted Tyrell, Penrose, Pylus, then stiffened as Stannis Baratheon strode through an opposite arch, blue banner of fiery heart trailing. The elder Baratheon's jaw was set like carved oak. Black beard peppered with gray, temples streaked by salt winds. Behind him walked Melisandre of Ass High, red gown shimmering, eyes aglow with strange embers. Her presence drew murmurs. Stannis surveyed the chamber. "So the wolf saved his own pelt," he said without warmth. "Good. I'd not have Lannister butchers claim his head." He faced Ned. "You bear Robert's will?" Ned unsealed the tube. "Signed but blank of air. He named me protector until truth is proved." "Truth is plain." Stannis struck the table with a mailed fist. "I am Robert's lawful brother. The boy Joffrey is bastard born of incest." He glanced to Cat and Renly. "Who here denies it?" Silence. Only torch crackle answered. Renly cleared throat. "None deny, brother. Yet circumstance requires broader counsel. The realm reels. War looms on four fronts. We must offer security, not simply the sharp edge of law. Law is the only security." Stannis's gaze burned. "Bend knee and spare yourselves conflict." Tyrell bristled. Renly lifted a placating hand. "We propose a short regency under Lord Stark until banners gather. And coronation at Old Town where faith may witness the charges." "Regency invites scheming," Stannis snapped. "I will not barter my birthright." Ned stepped forward. "Lord Stannis, the proof I hold is enough for maesters and septons. But hearts of small folk recall the Mad King's fall. They fear fresh wildfire. Allow council to proclaim you king once Riverlands and North join. I'll name you heir in writing tonight, but keep the title protector only until you marshal forces." Stannis's eyes narrowed. Melisandre leaned to whisper. He listened, face stiff. At last he said, 3 moons, no more. Then the throne and the war are mine." He looked to Renly. "Swear now or be traitor."
Renly met Ned's gaze.
Cat's heart pounded. At length Renly exhaled. "I swear loyalty for 3 moons." Tyrell's shoulders slumped. Loras masked fury behind courteous bow. Cat spoke next. "The Riverlords and North will answer Ned's call. We'll ride tomorrow to gather." Melisandre's copper voice intervened. "Storm ahead, my lords. Shadows lengthen in halls of kings. The Lord of Light shows a stag crowned in flame, beset by wolves and lions alike. Only the fire's champion may stand unburnt."
Nil eit her werly.
"The North trusts old gods, not foreign flames." Stannis waved irritably. "Leave omens to priests." He fixed on Ned. "I accept your regency, but misuse it and die. Misuse would shame my house." Ned offered hand. Stannis gripped it, hard, brief, final. Night council stretched until candles died. War maps stained with wine clung to the shield table. Plans laid. Davos to bring Dragonstone fleet. Jon Royce to ride Mountain Road rallying Vale houses dismayed by Lysa's isolation. Renly to hold Storm's End and win Tyrell swords with honeyed talk. Ned to summon Riverlords at Riverrun, then journey north if safe. Cat would accompany to Riverrun and persuade her uncle to unleash outriders across Westerland's flank. Barristan would ride to the Kingswood to gather loyal Crownland knights still mourning Robert. At first gray light, Ned found Arya sparring with Brienne under vaulting battlements, with swords clacking. Rain left the stones slick, but Arya darted lithe, laughter bursting when she slipped Brienne's guard. The tall woman grinned beneath sweat, admiring the child's fearless rush. Ned felt world heavy, yet that sight steadied him. He briefed Arya on travel. You'll ride with Catelyn to Riverrun, then on to Winterfell under escort. Your sister too, once we retrieve her. Arya's grin died. Sansa's still with the queen. I will bargain for her release, he promised, though Dread nod. Stay sharp. Remember Sirio's words. Swift as a deer, she recited, touching Needle's hilt. 3 days marched swift. Ravens flew from Storm's End bearing Stannis' claim and Ned's sealed regency. At Riverrun's red stone walls, host of Tully fish banners arrayed to greet them. Hoster Tully lay bedridden, but Brynden the Blackfish welcomed his niece with a bone-crushing hug and listened to Ned's tale with storm-dark eyes. The Lannister host crossed Mummer's Ford already, he warned. Jaime leads, burning holdfasts along Tumblestone. Ned's guts clenched. Jaime freed by chaos, unsworn to any leash but vengeance for his captured sister. Brynden unfurled fresh banners. Mallister purple eagles, Blackwood ravens, Fry twins withheld. Robb's direwolves rode south from Moat Cailin. Ravens told of Karstark, Umber, Manderley levies converging. Winter moved through summer fields. At night on Riverrun's rampart, Cat stood with Ned above moonlit waters. Do we trust Stannis? She asked. We trust his need for legitimacy, Ned answered. That binds him until he wins. He rubbed aching temples. Yet Melisandre's fire worries me. Cat's fingers twined with his. We watch each ally as hawk. In King's Landing, Cersei's throne room stank of fear. Janos Slynt knelt before the queen, helmet dented. Stark escaped with sorcery, your grace. The Kingslayer marches to crush traitors. Cersei's nails bit armrest steel. And Littlefinger? She asked. He spreads coin to sniff their holes. Varys claims ignorance. Cersei's smile was thin. Ignorant spiders weave nothing. Perhaps we clip legs. She waved Slynt away, then turned to Joffrey, seated uneasy on the throne. You wish to prove strength. Now prove strategy. We dispatch envoys to Freys and Greyjoys. Promise them tides of gold. Joffrey swallowed. And Sansa? Keep her close, a leash upon wolves. She stroked his hair. But treat her kindly for now. Littlefinger entered, bowing low. A fleet sails from Dragonstone behind Stannis. Our gold ship's ready, but we lack command. Higher sail sails, Cersei snapped. I care not whose banner they flew last. She studied the master of coin. Bring me the heads of the small folk who cheered Stark's rescue. Baelish inclined head. Heads are dear, tongues cheaper. I shall nail tongues first. The heads will follow. When he left, his smile slipped. The game spiraled beyond even Mockingbird's control. Yet chaos bred ladders. 5 days later, twin hosts collided at the Green Fork. Robb Stark's 30,000 spears met Jaime's 22,000 lions. Ned had raced north with Cat and Arya pressed in the center of column, but they reached only the twins when ravens shrieked. Battle joined, Robb victorious, Jaime captured alive. Cat wept relief. Ned's knees sagged with pride and dread. They crossed Lord Walder's bridge under heavy tolls, Fry daughters lining parapets as though bristling arrows, and pushed to camp where gray banners before rain-black skies snapped triumph. Robb greeted father outside command tent lit by torches. He was unshaven, mail flecked by dried mud, but eyes shone with the fire of first blood one. They embraced long. Ned saw the boy had shed innocence like a skin. Jaime sits bound in pen, Robb said. He'll exchange for Sansa. Ned shook head. Cersei's pride outruns reason. We must keep the Kingslayer until throne knees bend. Brynden joined, reporting flanks. Karstark men clamored for Jaime's blood to answer sons slain at Mummer's Ford. Tensions frayed. That night Ned visited Jaime in a wooden cage circled by spears. Torches cast bars of light over Lannister gold hair. Jaime lounged against post, chains clinking. "Lord Stark," he drawled. "Still alive. My compliments. Alive in part because your sister heired." Jaime smirked. "Cersei never heirs." She adjusts. His gaze flicked to guard stances. "You should kill me or lose. I will hold you for peace. Peace is a maiden's dream." Jaime's smile sharpened. "Soon Tywin's hammer falls. Can you hold me when tents burn?" Ned turned away. "We shall see." While armies marshaled, ravens battled invisible across sky. Stannis proclaimed from Storm's End, banners of fiery heart-crowned stag rising above garrons and cell sails. Renly wooed Highgarden. Slowly Tyrell roses turned from Red Keep's perfumed court to greener fields of chance. Melisandre lit night fires on beach, chanting in guttural tongue. Fishermen whispered of shadows flitting across waves. Davos smuggled letters to White Harbor, Manderley's promised port for royal fleet. But winter's true whisper carried from the north. At Castle Black, ravens arrived telling of wildling fires dancing beyond the wall. Lord Commander Jeor Mormont wrote Ned begging aid. "Dead men walk. We ride at daybreak." Ned read by campfire, shadows dancing like wights unseen. The realm bled southward while true doom stirred in icy silence. He summoned Robb, Brynden, Cat, Maester Luwin, arrived with northern host. "Once throne secure, we turn north, but we cannot leave Wall naked." Robb offered to split host. Brynden cautioned. Cat squeezed Ned's hand. "The Starks must guard the realm, both halves." Winterfell's ravens landed at Bran's window. The boy read account of Green Fork victory, father alive, Jaime caged. Hodder lifted him to tower roof where crows gathered along crenellations. Bran closed eyes, spirit sliding into the watchful birds. He soared above camps and burning fields, above Red Fork where fish floated belly up. Further, to Black Wall where blue-eyed corpses strode under moon. He saw Jon Snow leading a ranging column across crunching drifts, Longclaw's steel throwing ghostly glints. A distant shadow loomed, a monstrous elk crowned with antlers of ice, rider robed in wind. Fear jolted Bran back into soft flesh. He gasped. Maester Luwin caught him. Bran whispered, "Tell father." White elk moved south. Luwin frowned. Bran insisted, voice shaking. The maester wrote at once. At Riverrun's great hall, Ned received Bran's raven. While men feasted on victory, he read the scrawl. White elk of ice rides south. The weight of unknown omen pressed him. He approached Stannis' envoy to speak of Night's Watch plea. The envoy, Lord Valerion, scoffed, "Wild tales." But Davos, present, met Ned's eyes and nodded. "We trust crows. I will urge the king." Ned swore he'd ride to Winterfell once Riverlands settled. Cat touched his cheek. "Our path circles wider each hour," she murmured, "but we'll return." A fortnight later, under harvest full moon, banners of Stark, Tully, Royce, Manderley, and Baratheon converged before Harrenhal's soot-black towers where Tywin had encamped. Smoke from burning villages still smeared horizon. Ned stood atop his destrier beside Robb, Stannis, Renly arrayed across fields glimmering silver. Behind, 60,000 men shifted armor clink. Ahead, Lannister torches flickered within ragged palisade. Rain-soaked siege engines waited like crouching beasts. Stannis' voice rang, sound drums. Rows of war horns answered, deep and braided by bells. From ramparts, Lannister horns blared defiance. The greatest host Westeros had seen since Robert's rebellion prepared to clash. Ned lifted ice in both hands, blade reflecting moons. He thought of Bran and Rickon dreaming beneath Winterfell's gargoyles, of Sansa in Lion's Cage, of Arya standing fearless at rail, of Jon amid white winds, of Robb at his side, chin set. He whispered a prayer to old gods, new gods, any ears, then lowered the sword. Siege began at first orange dawn, Northmen axes hacking outer barricades, Riverlord catapults hurling firepots, Tyrell knights cresting ditches under arrow storms. Lannister scorpions spat. Smoke churned, screams curdled crimson dawn. At midday, Brynden led a sally through shattered gate, banners streaming. Jaime, still chained behind stark lines, heard roars of his own men falling. Ned rode among vanguard, Barristan at his flank, ice carving arcs through mailed foes, hours blurred to red haze. He saw Stannis atop Warhorse brandishing Lightbringer, no, merely a Baratheon blade catching sun, while Melisandre on distant rise raised arms to flame-licked sky. Shadow shapes writhed around her feet, slithering toward walls unseen by most eyes. By dusk, Harrenhal's outer ward burned. Tywin's host withdrew into Inner Bailey. Stannis urged assault before night, but Ned overruled. Rest men, hold ground, starve them. Stannis bristled yet conceded. Heavy losses weighed them all. In quiet of pre-dawn, Ned walked smoldering yard, Barristan beside. Among corpses he found a Lannister knight clutching torn standard. The knight's last breath whispered, "Lion abandons cub." Ned puzzled until horns erupted anew, this time from West Woods. Scouts galloped in. Tywin escaped with household guard overnight, riding for River Road. Left garrison to burn. Stannis cursed. Renly laughed sharp. The old lion slinks. Ned realized the true battle would sprawl across seasons yet. They breached keep by noon, found dungeons filled with small folk, and lofts stacked with grain. Tywin burned rather than yield. On blackened stone throne Ned convened council. Their Davos arrived bearing Raven from White Harbor. Ironborn raiders harry Stony Shore. Greyjoy sails blackened Seal Bay. Tywin stoked war in one wind, Balon another. Stannis slammed fist. My rightful kingdom splinters while leeches bleed it. Renly retorted that hearts follow bread, not law. Argument flared. Ned rose between them. Enough. The realm rots while we quarrel. We divide tasks. Stannis presses King's Landing before winter closes roads. Robb and I return north to break Ironmen and aid Mormont beyond Wall. Renly secures Reach and Maiden Pass for grain southwards. Tyrells hold Riverlands. He turned to Davos. Your fleet escorts northern longships to Eastwatch. I circled, weighing. Cat stepped forward. Or let pride drown us all. Her calm founded decision. Even Stannis softened. Finally, the elders nodded. Swords tapped floor. Agreement forged. Within hour, messengers galloped. Robb embraced father. I will ride the neck then see. The wall needs swords.
Ned clasped shoulders.
You did valiantly, but one more task. Guard Winterfell until I return. The North must stand rooted. Robb swallowed disappointment yet bowed. Cat prepared to ride with Sansa's ransom envoy bearing Jaime and terms. Arya insisted on riding north with her wolf blood, but Nick insisted she accompany Cat south to exchange hostage for sister. Tears erupted but she obeyed, though Needle's hilt bit lip of her pack. Barristan Selmy chose to escort Cat, determined to see Lion exchange honorably. Jon Royce escorted ravens to Vale Lords. Ned watched banners depart in every compass. In the courtyard of charred Harrenhal, he stood alone beneath sky swirling with first flakes of early winter. A crow settled on ruined parapet and croaked, voice harsh. Ned met its beady eyes and thought of Bran. He hefted ice, whispered to wind, for family, for realm, for dawn, then turned north, footsteps crunching frost as the woods muttered secrets older than any crown. Far beyond, in darkness where wall met ancient forest, a horn blew 3 times. Snow sighed, blue fire kindled in sockets long dead. A white elk lifted star ice antlers and bowed to a rider woven of night. And southward they marched unseen, to meet a realm already set ablaze by men's tangled dreams. Weeks later, on a frozen deck of a northbound galley, Ned Stark stood beside Davos as ghostly green aurora rippled. Longships of Manderley carved black water ahead, northern oarsmen chanting deep. Behind them Barristan's sails bore Cat and hostages toward Maidenpool for exchange. Far ahead, Hardhome's cliff fires glimmered unnatural. The winter wind tasted of graves. Ned's thoughts drifted to a godswood alive with red leaves, a boy's soft voice warning, the knife is behind the smile. He stared north where no smiles waited, only knives of ice. He swore again to remember. The flotilla pressed on into night, steel-clad purpose in every creek. And over the sea, luminous curtains frayed, as if some vast unseen hand tugged at the cloth of sky, unpicking threads that bound light to darkness. The dawn that followed would find wolves and men standing shoulder to shoulder upon the frost-slick battlements of an ancient wall, facing the truest of all enemies at the edge of the world.